Okay. Okay. So I love how God just had me record. Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk to y'all about family today, and you know, the devil. So the devil will try to um, keep us away from family and manipulate and lie, of course. When we, however, when we remind ourselves of who Jesus is, of what has been given to us, of that love, of that understanding, of that truth, of His truth, His attributes, what He says about us, that, even if you don't feel it, the feeling doesn't matter as much as the effort, as much as walking by faith. That even if you don't feel like you're at peace, He will give you His peace. In Jesus' name. Can I get an amen for that? There's so many times throughout life where we don't feel like doing something, or we don't think we have a sense of peace about something. But that's why he says that his peace is beyond understanding. It's beyond the worldly understanding. Right. So when it comes to family, we don't get to choose who we're born into, right? But He did. And He knew everything that we'd go through. As we get older and we become wiser, and our wisdom never just ends. We're always growing and becoming wiser. But as we have more control, or more, it's not control, it's ability. As He gives us that ability and we understand the ability that we have, we're able to reconcile with family. It's not easy. It requires patience. It requires perseverance. It truly requires love. And whether that's with our families that we're born into, or the families that we choose, our husbands and wives, our friends, even in some cases maybe colleagues, people that we are within our networks. Yeah. Yeah. We're all human, and we're all susceptible to saying the wrong things or having disagreements, times where, for different reasons, varying reasons, we feel maybe unheard, unseen, heck, maybe even neglected. And if we, I should say, but if we use, if we come from a place of love, of trying to and turning to God for understanding, we start to rebuild little by little, piece by piece. But it's only done through Him. His definition of love, what Jesus spoke to Paul, is a lot different from worldly definitions of love, where the word love is just thrown about, where you just say it and not show it, or you use it willy-nilly. You say that you love this and you love that and you love a certain type of pizza, or you love like a certain kind of music, but really love is patient, love is kind, as Jesus himself tells us in 1 Corinthians. It requires patience. Patience doesn't mean, again, sitting on your hands. It means actually taking action in faith. And I know it's hard because you don't feel it in the natural to take that action, but God will help you. He will guide you to the right actions in His perfect time, in His perfect way. Right? And hey, this is coming from someone who is taking that advice himself, taking that truth and applying it to his life. Love outweighs trauma. Love outweighs and is greater than ignorance. Love is greater than hurt. It doesn't mean you have to go back to people who have been abusive to you, where a lot of where a lot of deep disrespect and damage, or deep damage stemming from a lot of hurt and deep just disrespect. It doesn't mean you have to go back to people like that. That's not what I'm saying. For those people, you have a choice. You could, if you pray about that and you feel that in some way It's hard because I've seen where people feel almost guilted into providing something for someone that they don't need that they don't need to. Um, I've seen that happen, and things become worse as a result. So make sure you're not being guilted into doing anything. There's a difference between guilt versus a conviction from God, or if you're not sure, just pray. Pray, not just pray, pray. God knows what is on your heart and your mind. Pray for those people. And like I said, you can choose to move forward. It doesn't mean that you have to physically be there for anyone, per se, for especially those people who have hurt you deeply and who are truly dangerous to your God's purpose for you, dangerous to the life He's given you. You can pray for those people, right? When in a way where they don't have to be, the thought of them doesn't have to control you, doesn't have to guide you, it doesn't have to be part of your destiny. God knows we still love people who've done harm to us. He doesn't want us to deny our thoughts, our feelings, but He, at the same time, doesn't want us in places or with people who are detrimental to destiny, who would destroy destiny. He wants us on a path of righteousness. And love is, it's part of that. When God, put it this way, I've seen families who I've come across and experienced families who have a lot of love for each other, but there are things that come up, especially when they are younger, where emotional intelligence is not as developed typically, and people do stupid things out of, and things that become hurtful, things that end up being manipulative, and they do change and want to change over time, but that residue, that stickiness, or that dirtiness of what they did. And I'm not talking about any one type of act in particular or anything like that, because I know certain words connote certain things, but there are a variety of things and hurts that occur in families. And a lot of it has to do with manipulation. It has to do with desperation. Having parents trying to get their children to do their job, meaning the parents' job. Siblings hurting one another. Dysfunction. But I've seen and experienced the desire to want to move past those things. But those things still need to be addressed. Addressed in ways that come from a place of wanting understanding, of wanting, not just wanting, but developing understanding. Having a desire for that, first and foremost, and a desire and an understanding for love, to show, to also receive love. To give. And with the right spirit, the right heart, the right mind to do so. Having the right people around you to help with that. Bringing God in what He wants, because He does not want to see families being ripped apart. There are some cases, of course, many cases actually, where the damage is, like I mentioned, to the point where you can't be around those people anymore, right? But in a lot of other cases, in many other cases, the desire for love and for things to be functional, for things to be better, for things to be the way God intended it to be, exists. It's there. It's beneath all the BS. It's there. It's within. It's in the heart. And where that patience comes in is going through it, because it's not pretty when you go through and you touch on real hurt, because acknowledgement, or like I said, understanding is important. Strategizing in some way, and coming up with real ways to address issues, to address the things that are dysfunctional, that do not work, is important for every relationship. To not only own and address what happens, the things we do and things that we should be doing but don't do, but and to apologize, to truly mean that from your heart, and but to then, those are just words. Like I said, love can be just a word, but it takes strategy, coming up with real plans, goals to address, not just address, but to solve the things that don't work, the things that cause harm or can cause harm. So when it comes to family, man, we can't always, and every family is different. But if your family is going through a time where you or multiple people or other people within your family want healing, they want things to be addressed, they want facilitation, meaning seeking family counseling, or if it's a marriage, seeking marriage counseling or couples counseling. In a lot of cases, premarital counseling. Seek it. There are more affordable options, quality affordable options available now. And as I just learned recently, there's going into next year, 2024, there will be a lot more options for marriage, family therapists, couples therapists when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid as well. But do your own reading, not just reading, do your own ask questions too. Maybe not aloud yet, not out loud yet per se to certain family members. Pray about it. Maybe God does lead you that way to voice certain things. But at the very least, start asking yourself and asking God for revelation, for guidance. Remember, His grace's ability is a gift. It is given. And through Jesus, those feelings of guilt, shame, condemnation, all of that residue from sin, from the enemy and his lies, his manipulation, all of that we're not meant to have that, to hold on to that. Jesus literally, God Himself literally walked the earth in a human body, in a man's body, and because of the Father's will, because of the will of God, although He did not want to endure that pain, He died for us. He made a choice to die so that I'm not doing it. I don't know if I'm doing it justice right now. Look at how wonderful this life is. It's hard. It's challenging. But look at what we have. We have the ability to create do experience beautiful, amazing things in this world, in this life. Life itself it's a mystery, right? How he made this and he made us. But in that context, if someone chooses to give that up and to endure, talked about trauma, to endure, I don't know if trauma is even the word, to endure what he endured on the way to crucifixion, and to then die in that way, literally, from what we can tell, suffocating. Think about that sacrifice that was made so that we don't have to live in that residue, in those lies and in guilt or condemnation. No. If you really believe in him, your belief or your faith can start off being very little, and it'll grow because of him. It'll grow, and because of your desire for it, it'll grow. But if you believe in him, you'll also know that guilt and shame and those things don't need to be a part of this journey of our families, right? And if you are around people who are unbelievers, or they say they believe in God but they're not really seeking him, and they're not really seeking the truth, or trying to or they're speaking things that are blasphemous, things that, and they're claiming it's from God, pray for them, because the Father knows, and he will draw them to his Son, and he will draw them to the truth. Because when they have that, it doesn't make things, all roses and rainbows, but it makes things better, because then they develop that understanding that of true love, of true action that's taken in love and faith, and they and you won't allow yourselves to be held back by the past. As his word says, you'll press on to what lies forward, while growing in intimacy, in realness with him and together, because he is then in the midst of you. Have faith. Have faith, because it's confidence, it's assurance in the hope that we have in what is unseen yet, but will come to pass. In Jesus' name, amen.